Let's get started. So, hello, everybody. I am Georgia. I'm the head of customer success here at Mentorloop. And presenting here with me today is Emily, who is our head of marketing and also has been spearheading the Mentorloop Awards, which we're going to be sharing a bit about today, as you're aware. Um, Before we jump into it, I'd love to do an acknowledgement of country. So in the spirit of reconciliation, Mentorloop acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. Today we're presenting from Wurundjeri land, and one of the things that I appreciate, especially at this time of year, is walking amongst your gum, which are the large red flowering gum trees. We pay our respect to elders past, present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today, especially as our land's first storytellers, a practice which we will be engaging in today as we share our stories and experiences. So before we get started, we do welcome your questions, so just pop them into the Q&A chat and we will get to them at the end. And yes, we'll be sharing the recording, which will include the slides as well, so you can share them on to anyone else who hasn't been able to come along to the session.
Beautiful. Thanks, Georgia. So for today's agenda, we're here to walk you through what the Mentorloop Impact Awards are. We'll run through some of the key indicators for an award-winning mentoring program. But yeah, mainly we're here to celebrate and share the lessons on how this year's winners have achieved their success. So hopefully you can leave today feeling confident that building a mentoring culture in your own organisation is not just possible, but how when you apply those award-winning strategies, your mentoring program can truly make an impact for your people too. Next, yep. So we're now in the fourth year of the Mentorloop Impact Awards. We launched these awards back in 2020. As you can probably guess, was a time when connection couldn't have been any more important. But these awards are all about celebrating the mentoring programs that are making a real difference. So creating meaningful connections, driving growth, and transforming workplaces and communities to be more inclusive and more empathetic. So these awards highlight the powerful impact that mentoring can have, not only on individuals and organisations, but industries as a whole. So today we're thrilled to be able to shine a light on some of those who have gone above and beyond to foster that impact, leading by example and inspiring others. So this year we've awarded 18 programs running across all different kinds of organisations. You'll see in this group we've got workplaces, industry associations, educational institutions, as well as a few community groups and nonprofits. So these programs are based in many different countries, and for some of them, they operate worldwide, supporting participants around the globe. What all of these programs have in common is that they've performed extremely well in these key indicators of mentoring success. So these are program growth, match success, mentoring quality, and overall impact. So let's dive in and we'll explore some of these winners. We won't cover all of them today, but hopefully we've got a nice cross-section for you. So first up is Philip Morris International and their global mentoring program called iGrow. Philip Morris International, they have 80,000 employees across the world. They're actually a 3-time award winner of the Mentorloop Impact Awards. And Michelle Legrave, who is featured here, she's the global manager for coaching and mentoring at PMI. She's incredibly passionate and she's a joy to partner with. And yeah, she's achieved so much success in managing these global programs. So Georgia, can you tell us a little bit about this incredible program?
Absolutely. So PMI really demonstrate the many possibilities of mentoring. They started with only 50 people and have scaled to an incredible 2,600 in just a few short years. Not only is their main program truly global across many countries and time zones, they have continued to evolve and expand what they're doing, running various smaller programs and initiatives to fulfill specific objectives and provide alternative experiences. I think something that has helped them achieve this kind of success and uptake is really removing barriers to participate across their global network. It's a really good example of start simple, make participating and joining a really easy process, get people invested in mentoring, and then as it becomes part of the fabric and culture, you can evolve your offering further.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like this is definitely a story of growth. Could you describe maybe some of the impact that their program has had on their people?
The scale and global reach has certainly been impactful for the people at PMI. They have some impressive results and feedback to substantiate this as well. 59% have said that they experienced an increase in job satisfaction just after 1 year. 46% reported an increase in job performance. 73% said mentoring has influenced the type of people leader that they are. And 80% feel that they not only gained support in their professional development, but engage with more empathy. And interestingly, when we were speaking with their program coordinator, who you saw on the screen just before, she feels the reasons behind these results ultimately boil down to the opportunity to meet people outside of their culture, building better communication skills, breaking down barriers between functions but also across locations. That many people were able to recognize unconscious bias within themselves throughout their mentoring experiences, and being better able to accept and understand perspectives, be more inclusive, and become better active listeners.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And it's amazing that all of that is self-reported and some of those stats are just, yeah, they're pretty mind-blowing. So what does the future look like for PMI's mentoring program?
So we've already talked about scale from 50 to 2,600 already, but they're expecting to grow beyond 3,000 participants from 80 to 85 countries across many time zones. With that growth, they also plan to open up self-match to help facilitate more autonomy in mentoring. So self-match is a matching methodology that actually allows individuals to choose their own mentoring partner versus smart match, which automates the whole process. Self-match is a really great strategy to employ in your program, especially once it's established and people feel more confident in what mentoring actually is. And often we see programs will primarily use Smart Match, which, as I said, is algorithm matching. It's automated, especially for your first mentoring program. And this works really, really well because when you're new to something and you want a path to follow, Mentorloop can do exactly that using the algorithm and giving mentors and mentees somebody to be paired with and then actually guiding them through that experience. So it's quite structured. And then once people have had that experience, self-match, allowing people to choose their own mentor or mentee is a really great addition. Now that people understand mentoring and know what to expect from the experience, they feel more confident in seeking someone out themselves. It also saves program coordinators admin time by allowing people to self-organize should they want to make some changes after the matching's occurred. So it's really great to see PMI planning to execute this.
Absolutely. It's a really great program. You can read more of it if you we'll share this deck afterwards, as we've said. So yeah, you can read more and watch Michelle's story as well, their interview. Um, nice. I think that brings us next to Group M. So their program is called Your Bridge. Much like PMI, Group M are also on a journey of growth, but their challenge is a little bit different. So Group M are not just connecting different teams across different locations because they're global, but they're connecting people across multiple agencies. So they have a really interesting matrix-like organizational structure that can be quite challenging if you want to run a program of that scale. So this is led by Fiona Cameron. She's the Senior Learning and Development Partner for Group M. Yeah, Georgia, do you want to tell us a little bit more?
Absolutely. So Group M piloted their program in the UK in 2023 before expanding to EMEA and global markets. To reiterate, what is unique for this program is that they are a complex organization and their program connects employees across multiple agencies in a matrix structure. They are really committed to embedding mentoring and making it part of their people strategy. What is particularly important to them is knowledge transfer and skill transfer. They know they have so much incredible talent, business knowledge, transferable skills within their various agencies, but they needed to find a way to not only make employees with the knowledge and the skills visible, but the opportunity to connect across agencies accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. And to date, what kind of role has Mentorloop played, I guess, in that growth?
Having a platform allows them to successfully execute a skills-based matching model, which was really important for them with their objectives. Employees of all levels, locations, and backgrounds can connect, share expertise, and develop new skills in areas such as confidence, AI knowledge, management, and leadership. Um, They've been able to successfully create a more connected workforce, enabling employees to benefit from a broad network of subject matter experts. And feedback from both mentors and mentees shows that the program is fostering a community of individuals that are really eager to share knowledge and grow together. Um, but importantly, they're not only connecting across agencies, but in a hybrid working environment, which, a lot of us are still learning about and getting used to, they're able to ensure that everyone, regardless of location, can access mentoring opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think much like PMI, their story is about growth, starting small, scaling across an entire organization, and I guess having that consistency across mentoring experiences. So I think that flows nicely into our next award winner, who also share the desire to scale. But they really needed to find consistency in order to have the confidence to do so. So, yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the University of Manchester?
So, the University of Manchester's program aims to support students transition from university to the workforce, preparing them effectively for the challenges that come with such a big transition. And within that, they had a specific intention to increase access for students from underrepresented backgrounds, which they've managed to achieve with significant results.
Absolutely. And the challenges, like what did they face before coming to Mentorloop?
We know that they tried out a few tools and had done a pretty comprehensive review before choosing Mentorloop. So they really were looking for a platform specifically to help them create efficiency and consistency. Um, we've actually worked with many universities. They're huge and they have many departments and schools. And they also have two potential audiences being staff and students, which can, create some complexities. But it often also results in many initiatives with siloed approaches, creating a need to really streamline and create consistency across programs and offerings, because otherwise you end up with, for example, the School of Law doing mentoring one way and the School of Engineering maybe doing something completely different. And having such inconsistent experiences can be really frustrating for students, really hard to support and report on from an administrative perspective. And it's often not equitable in terms of program outcomes for participants. So what we were able to support the Uni of Manchester with was ultimately creating efficiency and consistency across programs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it also makes it easier to replicate too, um, which, yeah, is great. So I suppose what have the results been like to date for them?
Yeah, they've seen a significant reduction in admin burden, which really gives them the confidence to scale. And reporting is important for these types of programs too, because you need to be able to communicate your success with a reporting system that can be replicated, a reporting system that key stakeholders actually understand, and with consistency across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've had some really good results in terms of supporting students from underrepresented backgrounds. They've been able to measure that and communicate that to their stakeholders too. So I guess how does all of that inform their plans for the future?
Well, we now know that this will be a permanent offering supported by two full-time staff, which is wonderful. And what's also great to see is that they're considering taking what they've done for students and actually rolling out something similar for staff. And that's one of the benefits of using a structured platform. When you have consistency and efficiency, you can replicate what you're doing while still customizing what you need to suit a variety of programs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, that probably takes us to our next one. So much like the University of Manchester, delivering consistency to your participants as you scale is really important, especially if you want to take on a few different types of running a program. If you want to run always on, where people are joining your program at different stages, you want to be able to deliver that consistent experience and support, as you scale. So that was really important to our next winner, Cherie Blair, the Cherie Blair Foundation. Do you want to talk about this one? Their vision is quite impressive.
Yeah, you're right. It is very impressive. They support women in low and middle income countries to start, sustain, and grow successful businesses. They actually came to us with this vision having already demonstrated a successful, valuable mentoring program. And they came to us wanting to really amplify and scale what they already knew was a meaningful, impactful initiative, which meant creating more efficiencies with things like matching, giving them more time to focus on executing and providing support.
Yeah, nice. I think, yeah, with Mentorloop sort of joining that vision, what have the results been like for them in terms of how has the platform helped them?
I guess for them, ensuring that every participant receives personalized, meaningful, and impactful mentoring is really, really crucial, which often comes with logistical challenges. Matching mentors and mentees across different time zones, cultures, and industries can be really complex, but were able to do that with them via Smart Match and really simplify what that experience was like for program coordinators and admins. They've also really expanded their reach, giving more women access to consistent, high quality mentoring, which really was their objective coming to us. Um, Easier tracking and reporting has also helped them run much more efficiently, meaning they can spend more time offering direct support to mentees and mentors to ensure an exceptional experience across the board. Um, the results have been really, really powerful. You can see some of them up there on the screen, but 93% of recent graduate mentees improved key business outcomes, such as increasing revenue, hiring more employees. Women who succeed in business also create a ripple effect in their communities, reinvesting their earnings into education, nutrition, and health. But the benefits, go beyond mentees. Our mentors also benefit significantly from programs, and in this case, 87% of recent graduating mentors said that they gained knowledge of a new culture, 73% about doing business in a new sector or market. So yeah, this really does demonstrate the impact that mentoring has across borders for, both mentees and mentors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, it's incredible results from them, and I think they support over 250,000 people, or women across the world, which is in their time. So it's, yeah, incredible results that they're being able to achieve. I think probably takes us to the next one, APNA, so the Australian Primary Healthcare Nurses Association. They're quite interesting. I think this is more a story of isolation in an organization. And we know that isolation doesn't matter if you're working in the same office or you have a geographical divide, can be devastating to an organization. So, tell us a little bit about APNA and some of their challenges with rural and remote workers.
So their program is, a transition to practice program. This initiative not only supports the next generation of primary healthcare nurses, but also aims to upskill and empower the current nursing workforce. Many mentors enter the program without necessarily seeing themselves as leaders, but through their experience, they gain the confidence and skills to take the next step in their careers, whether that's pursuing a promotion or launching a project they've been considering.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think what's interesting about this one is like for those who aren't familiar, if you're not based in Australia, like just how remote are we talking? You know, it's some of these participants could be hundreds of kilometers between their workplace and the next practice. So I think, um, yeah, I find that kind of a really interesting aspect of this program with, with Mentorloop. They can ensure that even nurses in rural and remote areas, often isolated in their practice, can still receive the support they need. And that's, crucial in environments where access to colleagues is slim and, the need for advice and guidance is limited. What other results have you seen from this program?
So it's not only helped retain nurses in the profession, especially those who might have otherwise disengaged due to burnout, but has also provided opportunities for mentors to expand their own clinical and non-clinical skills. And we know that working in healthcare, particularly over the last few years, has a unique set of challenges. Seeing this program provide such incredible support, especially to those in remote communities that are vulnerable to isolation and burnout, has been such a privilege. And
Mm.
yeah, just to reiterate what you were saying here in Australia, the remote aspect is quite unique, I would say, to our cohort of people. It is, it can be so few and far between colleagues and support if you find yourselves in those remote locations. So it's been, yeah, really incredible to see the impact that this program has had on those rural communities and people working in them. Um, yeah, as I alluded to earlier, the impact does go beyond mentees, and a lot of mentors who have entered the program without necessarily having, you know, objectives per se. They've come out of it feeling as though they are better leaders and have gained a lot more confidence in taking their own next career steps, which is really, really important. We do really encourage mentoring to be reciprocal in our programs. Um, and the program has been running for a number of years now. It's really well established, with many continuing their mentoring relationships beyond the formal program duration, which really goes to say a lot for the community that APNA have created in providing networking opportunities and connections that are really lasting. Um, and what we see being really important for any program, but especially programs that rely on funding, is being able to measure the success at various intervals and then communicate that to your stakeholders regularly, and then often justify and secure funding as the program continues. So that has been something that APNA have been able to do really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there are 5 incredible programs of 18 that you can go and explore. We'll definitely share more resources on all 18. Most of them have a video interview that you can go have a look at, and a case study that, can hopefully inspire you to start your own program, or, make some changes to an existing program that you might already have. But yeah, we've got sort of 5 tips here from the award winners this year that we'd like to share. So the first one is consistency is key. I think we've touched on this a few times for the last 5 programs. For the ones that have scaled, they often have that emphasis on consistency. So providing a constant and consistent experience for anyone that wants to be involved or is already participating is key, and Mentorloop can help drive that. So especially if you're running a program asynchronously, it can be, near impossible without some sort of platform, whether it's Mentorloop or not. And, if you want to allow participants to join at any time. So with this in mind, many of the programs have what we call an always on approach. Or even if they're running cohorts across the year, they can help manage that experience and ensure everyone's being supported and have an equitable, truly equitable approach, which is great. So consistency also, I guess, translates to regularly reviewing and scheduling comms to support your people. Sorry, yep, next one is fine.
Sorry.
Getting your leaders involved is great. So this one mainly refers to workplace mentoring, I suppose. But as we know, workplace culture is often influenced from the top down, but it's often defined by the bottom up. So, participation really matters and says a lot. So like one of my favorite quotes on workplace culture is from Craig Bitterscombe, and he says, culture isn't an accident. Great business cultures are intentional. And I think mentoring programs are the perfect opportunity to walk the talk and get senior leadership involved. So, for example, two other award winners we have at Grant Thornton, 25% of their partners are mentors. And at Ziff Davis, their senior leadership participates both in the program and in the promotion of the program too. So essentially what we've seen work well is, or what we advise is encouraging your leaders to participate in the program. And if they're not, they can still advocate and promote the program too.
I think, sorry, I just want to add one thing.
Yeah.
I know that this does absolutely lend itself to corporates. However, I mean, we do work with a lot of different um, types of businesses, whether it be membership organizations or charities, and having leaders can ultimately be anyone that has influence. And I've certainly seen customers of mine before that do belong to those membership organizations really hero people that do have influence in the industry and participating in the program, getting them to be vocal about their experience and the value that they're getting from the program is incredibly helpful in not only making sure that the program is a success, but also spreading the positive outcomes that come from mentoring. So yeah, I think you're right in that it lends itself to thinking about corporates, but it does ultimately extend, I think, to all types of programs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, the next two tips that we've got sort of definitely reinforce that. So, monitoring your feedback and responding to participants' needs, might seem like a job for you, but it can also, it makes it easier to capture well, Mentorloop makes it easy to capture and monitor feedback with what we call sentiment. So this is where feedback from participants is captured, in the moment as they move through their relationships. And because that feedback is both qualitative and quantitative, you don't have to wait until the conclusion of a program to measure its impact or use that feedback to promote your program. On your Mentorloop dashboard, you'll also have the top performance indicators to inform you of what might need to happen next in your program. So you only really need to be that one step ahead, I suppose, of your program. And it allows for this iterative approach to mentoring too. So as you scale, like some of the stories that we've just had, you can course correct where you need to, or you can try something new as you grow. And monitoring your program doesn't even have to take that long. We've got award-winning programs that might only spend some time a week, like an hour or so per week, managing that element of their program. And it gives way to listening to your participants through that feedback. It only makes your program more valuable as well. So yeah, moving on to communicating your success. I guess as someone in marketing, initially, I probably come at this from a perspective of promotion. That feedback that you gather from your participants just makes your recruitment easier and helps you to scale. It helps future participants know kind of what to expect and be inspired by those that have gone before them in the program. I think what comes to mind is ALPSP, another award winner. As they're gaining new members, their membership mentorship program is regularly cited as one of the main reasons for joining the association in the first place, which is incredible. So communicating the value and the incredible stories that come from your program is key. As Georgia touched on before, communicating your success can also help in securing your program's longevity as well. So depending on your stakeholders, you might need to report to a manager, a board, sponsors, or even government bodies, just depending on what organization you come from. So collecting both those, hard numbers and impact stories from participants can help make that evaluation of your program a lot easier. And like today, using the Mentorloop Awards can also be a marketing tool. So that's something that our award winners get to enjoy. And lastly, streamlining your admin. So we spoke about that before, particularly with, Cherie Blair. Streamlining your admin just makes life so much easier. Another award winner that we have is Backup. They're making, admin easier also means for them that they don't have to invest more time and money or hiring more people to manage the program as it scales. So Mentorloop for them has allowed them to reach exponentially more individuals affected by life-changing spinal cord injuries and their loved ones. They now have over 300 successful relationships. I think that was last year. And now they can increase that as time goes by without having to, increase the resources required for that. So they can support many more people to come. To give you another one, ALPSP, they only have 8 full-time staff, and so Mentorloop has helped them manage the program and regularly report to their committees as well, as well as gaining positive feedback. So whether you're like Cherie Blair, where you want to amplify and scale what you already have, or if you like PMI, where you want to start small and grow your offering to thousands of people, your journey only becomes easier with a mentoring platform. So there you have it. We've only covered a handful of this year's award-winning programs and their teams. We've published a number of video interviews and case studies for each of these programs. If you'd like to learn more about them, we'll make sure that you have those links in the follow-up materials. There's some excellent stories in there, so I recommend checking them out. Even if you just want to be inspired. And next up, we'll take a look at some of the questions in the chat. So Grace is going to help us out there, I think.
Hi, everyone. So we'll get right to it. One of our first questions right off the gate is, do you need to be a Mentorloop customer to be eligible for the awards?
Yes, at this stage, that is the case. In the future, we may open it up because it has been something that people have asked for. But yes, at this stage it is, because we help you evaluate the success of your program. We really want to help promote the programs that partner with us. So yes, at this stage it is open only to Mentorloop customers.
Thank you. Next question we've got here. What is the biggest program that runs on Mentorloop, and what is the time commitment for admin like for them?
That's a good one. Georgia, do you know the largest one?
It would probably be, there's a couple that are in the multiple of thousands. So, PMI is obviously growing to get to beyond hopefully 3,000 this year. Arcadis is another customer of ours who has more than that participating in their mentoring program. Sorry, the second half of that question was, who's the largest? Sorry, Grace, what was the other half?
What's the time commitment?
Yes. So I've actually worked very closely with Arcadis for a very long time. And it can be as little as half an hour a week, especially once you get into your established program. So ultimately, it's not a huge burden. And the beauty of using a program or a platform, I should say, is that efficiencies come as you scale, which is why we have some really large programs run so successfully on Mentorloop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think large is relative. Like you could talk about the number of participants and that aspect of it, but as we've spoken about, some of these programs are just more complex, so they might be larger or more burdensome in terms of other aspects, depending on their goals and what they're doing to complement, well, in conjunction with mentoring. So there's many different case studies. If you've got any specific questions, I can always follow up afterwards. We've got a whole bank of case studies, and we can probably find one that's similar to your organization and needs.
Great, thank you. Next question we have here is, how does Mentorloop support group mentoring initiatives, for example, one mentor to 4 mentees?
Great question. We do support group mentoring. So we have some award winners actually that are group only mentoring or primary group loop programs. One of those is Dharma. So the way that they run it, just as an example, is they've got a key mentor who is the facilitator in the group and then has multiple mentees that they are facilitating and supporting in the program. It's a really successful program. If you're interested in learning more about it, I'd encourage you to have a look at their award entry because they were an award winner this year. But many of our programs don't just use groups as their primary or the only type of mentoring that happens. They often use groups to supplement one-on-one mentoring. So both are options and can be very valuable. We also have a challenge called the Group Mentoring Challenge, which helps you create structure in your group mentoring if it's something that you are new to, because we do see that one-on-one mentoring is often the more known, comfortable format. So we've got plenty of resources that support you execute that if it's what you're looking to do.
Yeah, the challenges are really great. I think that's, yeah, an amazing part of what your team offers, Georgia. Any more, Grace?
Next question here. Any advice for best practice when expanding a program scope to new regions? Example, different time zones, countries, etc.
Sorry.
No, you go.
I think ultimately what we were talking about earlier on with PMI, for example, is often if you start small and you just try to reduce the barriers to entry and get people onto the platform, it actually makes iterations very easy. You can, once you've, I guess, got an established program in your organization, it really is then just about communicating to the various regions, being able to demonstrate some value and success, and then bringing everybody on board from there. It actually is quite easy to manage. From a matching perspective, we can match people based on time zone. So your objective might be, I want to match people that are from a different time zone because I'm really interested in them intentionally connecting across cultures. Or it might be that I've got a big global program, but I want people to be connected with someone in a relevant time zone. So we'll look for same time zone matching. So there's lots of different things that you can do and ways you can run it. We also do have global programs that have people managing the program from different regions. So Arcadis is actually an example of that. They do have a primary program coordinator, but because they have so many regions, they've got additional program coordinators that log in and can report on and see their particular region and communicate to their region as well. So I guess to summarize that is you starting small and then communicating the success to other regions to bring them on board can be a really useful strategy. And then in terms of actually connecting people across time zones or within time zones is very easy with Mentorloop. And I've forgotten what my third point was.
I think you covered a lot of what I also wanted to say as well. So we didn't go into it, but PMI initially, like years ago, 4 years ago, I think, actually only started as a employee group, and they started with 20 mentors and mentees, and they were using spreadsheets. And then they moved to Mentorloop, and then Michelle sort of took over as the key owner because they didn't need a team of employees anymore, and she scaled it all the way to 3,000. So she's worked really hard in getting those stakeholders on board, reporting consistently, and working with your key leaders across different regions, I think is probably one of the main things.
Yes, sorry, that was the third point, that you can have multiple admins in the system. You can have
absolutely.
multiple regions on board to help. Yeah.
Great, thanks. We've got another question here from Tammy. From the case studies, it looks like Mentorloop can support across organizations. We are in our second year of partnering with 2 external organizations in a mutual senior peer-to-peer mentoring arrangement. Is it possible with Mentorloop?
Absolutely. We have existing customers who do exactly this. There are unique, things to their program that we consider, but it is absolutely possible, yes.
And just to that point, and it's not necessarily the same application, but I mean, we work with industry associations, so all the participants in an association come from all different workplaces. So it's actually a really great centralized place for them. You can connect and integrate all your communication tools, so you can, you know, track all of that information. But yeah, I think Suncorp, that was one that has worked across different yeah, connected with their peer sort of organizations and brought everybody in. But yeah, absolutely.
All right, I think that's the last question we have. So yeah, thanks everyone. If there's nothing else, I think I'll hand back over to Emily and Georgia.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. As we said, we'll follow up with the deck and this recording. And yeah, definitely encourage you to go have a look at the different award applications, the videos to watch, stories there, and please don't hesitate to get in touch if you'd like a demo or just to learn a bit more about anything that we've spoken about today.
Thanks, everyone.
Great. Thank you.